want you to share a little bit about if you really want something, you got to work for it. It's a journey, and you can't just say, I want to, play Carnegie Hall. You have to say, I'm willing to write the songs, do the work, and you're here about to work all day to write and to perform, but you're writing all day, and you're a real person. You walk your kids to school. You have issues. You've got personal stuff going on.
Right. It's definitely. I think it's about balance.
Yes.
Because there's definitely that. It's not like your artist juices are running all the time too. Do you know what I mean? Like your inspiration doesn't. You're not feeling like
you're just going. I'm going to sit down.
I'm going to sit down and write.
Songs.
Sometimes you sit down and you're just like, I'd rather go to the dentist. I can't nothing, and you're stuck in your own whatever drama is going on in your life. And then there's all the little extra things that come in of like running a household and being a mom, and then also wanting to be a wife and whatnot. And so what I found that works for me is making an appointment to do it, which seems like, You're what? You're making an appointment? That doesn't seem like it's very artistic in a way. But it's like almost a promise to yourself that this is time I'm going to have for me. And I'm going to sit down and write something. And it might be amazing. It might be crap. But I'm going to do it. And for the very first time in my life, I wrote a song all by myself. I'm as a musician, I know enough chords and I'm proficient, but I can't really accompany myself on guitar or piano. But I know about it. But I've always relied on the music of other people. And the lyrics have been co-written and the ideas. And melody will come to me, and then my guitar player Mark will just put music to my melody. But just sitting down and challenging myself and say, hey, why not write it? And I did. And it's a pretty good song. It's like, hey, it's this doesn't suck. And so it's almost like challenging yourself in any place that you are and knowing that you can't just make it happen.
But how do you stay motivated? Especially if you're going through a hard time, how do you stay motivated? So I'm going to stay on this path and not get that day job and then start doing another career and wishing you did, follow through with what your heart, is calling.
That is hard because there's that little pesky thing about needing to eat and pay your rent.
Yes, that little thing.
And I have been fortunate enough that my husband has a good enough career that he can sustain us, and so that my income is extra, and it's not solitary. Because if I was a single parent, I would have probably a full-time job, and then it's even harder to find it.
So when do you know when you're supposed to be following your dream, or if you're supposed to, settle for?
Oh, that is such a good question, because I think it changes all the time.
Money, do you keep doing it and get a smaller place and a smaller place, or crash on people, or do you just say no, this wasn't meant to be? How do you know?
I think you do something long enough. I use the picture of you hit your head up against the wall enough times and you start bleeding. You're like, this isn't working. This really hurts. I'm going to stop doing this. You can tell when you're just.
A lot of people say 7 years. If you haven't done it, stop. Because if you didn't work hard enough in those 7 years, you're really not hungry enough, even if you're talented.
Yes.
And maybe you're not talented if you worked hard enough and you didn't make it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And also knowing that, accepting that your path and your journey is exclusive to you and is also part of a bigger picture. So just because I didn't choose the same path that, say, Madonna chose from the 80s, and where she went in her fame, doesn't make my path any less important. No. And I think it was coming to that realization and accepting, it's so important to be in the moment of where you are in your music. And I was, for so many years, yes, I'm happy, but if I was just over there, if I could just do that one thing, I know I would get what I needed. And it was never true. You'd get there, and there was always the next thing. And
I'm so glad you said that, because so many people are saying, I love what I do, but I'm just not good enough, or I never made it. You did make it if you're following your dreams. Even if you quit and say, I'm not sustaining myself, you still made it because you followed your dreams, and you did something that most people don't take the time to do or won't risk their life for. Exactly. And it's about the journey. It's not the destination. So what did they learn and gain from that?
Yeah, you always hear that too. It's about the journey. And even people who make it to the top of the top and are super happy and love their life, still talk about the good old days when they were, sleeping on people's couches and, writing those songs on toilet paper or whatever they were doing.
I loved it when we had a blue shag carpet with, remember the roaches everywhere?
Oh, God. I'll never forget, they came in and they repainted a wall, and there was a cockroach painted into the wall. They didn't even bother taking it off. I'm like, okay, this is the Hollywood dream.
This is the dream. And put your paper up and just putting whatever inspired us on the wall, a saying or cutting something out of a magazine.